Problem number 1. Fernando bought a hard drive for 30% off the regular price. The sales price was $63. What was the regular price? What we do in problem number 1 is set up the chart like on the board here. With the percent and the actual count, on the side we have the original amount, the change, and then the new amount. We fill in the pieces of information that they give us. They give us that it is 30% off of the regular price. That 30% represents the amount of the change. So that would go in the change column under the percent because it's 30%. The original percent was 100%, which means that the new percent, we would subtract those because we are discounting to get 70%. If it was a markup, then we'd add those two. They also give us $63, and they told us that that was the sales price. If that's the sales price, that means that's the new price, which means 63 goes under the actual count in the new column. The question asks, what is the regular price? The regular price is the original price, so the variable goes there. I ignore the middle column and set up the proportion as follows. 100 over 70 equals x over 63. Remembering how to solve proportions, cross products are equal. So I multiply 100 times 63 and set that equal to 70 times x. Remembering the goal to get x by itself, I want to move this 70. And I move that 70 by dividing both sides by 70. On this side, the 70 cancels, and I'm left with x is equal to. In order to make this problem a little easier, I'm going to cross cancel before I multiply. This 0 cancels this 0, and 7 goes into 63 9 times. My answer is this 10 times 9 to get 90. The answer to question number 1 was 90. Number 2. Number 2 goes like this. In 1 year, the student enrollment increased from 550 to 572. This was an increase of what percent? It's increasing because the numbers are getting bigger. In this problem, we have to find the percent of change. If we're asked to find the percent of change, the first thing that we do is remember that the percent of change is the change of the two numbers, which means we're going to subtract them, and that's going to sit over the original amount. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is subtract 572 and 550. And we're going to put that over the original amount. The original amount is the first amount that they give us, which is 550. Subtracting these two gives us 22. 22 sits over 550. Recognizing the common factor of 11, I divide both of these by 11 first to get 2 over 50, which then reduces to 1 over 25. I have to change that into a percent. Remembering how to change a fraction into a percent, I divide those two numbers. The denominator sits in the front and the numerator sits underneath. 25 does not go into 1, so I must add a decimal, bring the decimal up, and add a 0. 25 does not go into 10, so I must put a 0 at the top and then add another 0 here. 25 goes into 100 4 times. My answer is decimal 04. If I'm making decimal 04 into a percent, remember I move the decimal 2 spaces, and I end up with the answer of 4%. Let's take a look now at number 3. Number 3 says, when a 6-foot fence casts a 10-foot shadow, a pine tree casts a 65-foot shadow. How long is the tree? So let's draw a picture of what they're talking about. They're talking about a fence. So we're going to draw a fence pole. And we're going to say that this fence is 6 feet tall. And it casts a shadow. There's a shadow of 10 feet long. And then it asks about a pine tree. So let's draw a pine tree. And the pine tree casts a shadow that is 65 feet long. How tall is the pine tree? That's where the variable goes. We solve this problem by setting up proportions again. We take the actual height of the pole, which is 6 feet, and put it over the actual height of the tree, which is x. We set that equal to the shadow of the pole, which is 10 feet, over the shadow of the tree, which is 65 feet. And then we solve the proportion using cross products. 6 times 65 equals 10 times x. Dividing both sides by 10 will get x by itself. And again, we're going to cross cancel. 5 comes out of 10 twice. 5 comes out of 65 13 times. 2 and 6 have a common factor of 2. The 2 becomes a 1 and the 6 becomes a 3. Multiplying 3 times 13 gets the result 39, and the answer would be 39 feet. Looking at problem